Good evening, this is Chrissy Green here with another video tutorial for the Photography for Beginners um, editing group. Today I thought I would just show you really quickly how to punch up a portrait or any picture with some fake bokeh dots. They're really super easy to do, it only takes a few minutes. So here's a picture. I was just playing around in the studio today trying to get sort of a nighttime effect by using some colored gels on my flashes, and this is the resulting picture, and I kind of like it, but I wanted to just add a little extra magic to it. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is select a brush, and we're going to want to create a new layer. And over here we have a couple of options with our brushes. So if I just click one, I can see I've just got a round soft brush picked. If I click over on brush, I can actually make this really super hard, which is what I want to do. Um, and when you paint with your brush, you think you're getting a long straight line. What you're actually painting with these brushes is the shape of the brush. So I'm not painting a line with this. I'm actually painting a bunch of dots. And when the spacing is really low, they form a line. You can actually crank up that spacing and you see the dots that are there. So I'm going to crank that up. Maybe make my brush a little bit smaller. And I've got the spacing right, but if I were to brush this, I would just get a line of dots, and I don't want that. What I want to do is actually scatter these. So I'll click on scattering and just crank that one up a little bit too. So now on my new layer, you can see I'm getting this little random assortment of dots. And it's entirely random. I don't really control where they go. So for the first layer, what I want to do, I'm actually going to do 3 layers. The first one is going to be blurred to make it look like those dots are farther away. So I need to make sure that any dots that showed up over my image, I get rid of. There'll be no blurry dots in the foreground. So I will get rid of those. The ones that are left, I'll go up to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and give it a healthy blur. Say OK. And then I'm going to create a new layer. Going to do the exact same thing, just with my random dots. And these ones I am going to blur, but not as much. This is going to be my in the middle layer. So whatever my first blur was, I've got to come down from that. That looks good, so I'll say OK. And then my final layer, these dots are actually going to be left in sharp focus. And then I'm going to take the opacity down on them so that they're barely seen. So that was my background layer, then my middle layer, and then my in focus layer. And I'm just going to play around with the opacity until I like the look that I've got. And then what I was playing around with, I actually made a bunch of shapes. I made some stars and strings. So it kind of looked, because it's a studio shot, no one's going to believe this is outside. So my stars are kind of fake, but that's okay. And I think I'll just give those stars a bit of a glow and then I'll be done. So I'm going to come back down here and put my settings back, turn off the scattering, and take down my spacing. I'm also going to take down my hardness. And I want my brush to be just a bit bigger than the stars are. And on a layer either directly above or directly below the stars, I'm just going to give a quick dot with each star. Turn that opacity down just so that it looks like they're just lightly glowing. And there, that's it. So in just a couple of minutes, I have made, it's not even 5 minutes actually, I've made some pretty bokeh um, around my image. And you can play with it with the size of the bokeh, how many different layers you want to do, how dense or clustered you want them to be. But that is how you would create bokeh for a magical look in your portraits. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. Had a wonderful time bringing you guys another tutorial. By all means, feel free to leave comments or questions, and hopefully I'll be back again soon with another tutorial. Have a wonderful evening, guys. Bye bye.